the kind of music just makes you want to go,
oh, yeah,
fast. Welcome to Las Vegas, where we're set to run for the pole for Sunday's race in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Fast Friday, presented by K&N. There is a little weather. Cloud cover. Air temp 79 degrees, a light breeze that we've had all afternoon. And because of that cloud cover, track temperature down from practice to 81 degrees. Kevin Harvick among those at the ready to run for the pole here in Las Vegas, where the track record 27.498 seconds, 196.3 miles per hour. We were 4/10 shy of that on practice. Can we make that up?
Well, I hope so. I just want to keep that record intact. 7 years in a row, 7 track records, and
right.
I don't see any reason not to. The track's a little cooler. We're going a little later. These guys get up on the wheel. What do you think, buddy?
Well, we got a little bit softer tire, even though we have less downforce than what we had last year. And this place is just a track. When the track gets cool, you can really attack. So I'm looking forward to seeing who can push it out to the edge without stepping over it.
So the track has cooled off just a bit from practice, about 8 or 10 degrees, but the cars have since had to roll through inspection, where 38 of the 39 cars have made it out onto the starting grid. Fastest 24 advance in round 1, fastest 12 from round 2, and then 12 cars will run for the pole, and the 39-car field will be set. Eric Jones is the one driver that's missing from those cars on the grid. His teammate Martin Truex was the last to come out to the line, and Jones, you can see his car still in inspection, going through, and not for the first time. Let's get down to Matt Yoakum.
Mike, Kevin Harvick dominated from the pole a week ago in Atlanta. 1.5 mile tracks, but are these tracks almost polar opposite in what it requires to go fast?
Pretty much. You know, there's definitely a lot more bumps and a lot less grip at Atlanta, and you know, the speeds are very high here, especially in qualifying. It's a lap where you don't let out of the throttle all the way, and you got to get your car to turn to be able to make it as low on the racetrack as you can. So a lot of momentum here, a lot of speed here. You gotta make a commitment before you get started to hope that it's right and not push the front tires off or get loose getting in the corner. So this has been a big swing in rubber on the racetrack, cloud cover from pure sunshine when we practiced, no cars on the racetrack when we went out this morning. So we had to take into account a lot of things that we kind of guessed on to see where we thought the balance was going to be. But we'll go out there and hold the gas down on our Mobil 1 annual protection car and hope for a good lap.
Impressive in qualifying a week ago. Best start here, Vince, at Las Vegas, 3rd.
With Jamie McMurray, and qualifying under conditions that are a lot different than what you practiced. And what's top of mind for you as you get ready for this multi-round qualifying?
I mean, it's so much different than what we used to have. And as we line up 35th here, in the old days, you would have been thrilled because you would have went out late. But with the 3 rounds, it's different because you have to adjust on your car for each round. The tires don't give up near as much here as they did at Atlanta last week. But our credit one thing, Chevy was really good in practice. The bumps in 1 and 2 are still huge or bigger than they were. But I've been pretty good in that, and I struggled a little bit in 3 and 4. So I went back and looked at the Dartfish and a lot of the engine data that we share, and I hope we can put it all together here.
We're about to find out. Thanks, Jamie.
Jamie was in the top dozen in practice. Now there's a way to go fast in Las Vegas. Let her rip, boys. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Have a look at turn 1 and the rubber that's been laid down by 1 round of Cup practice and 2 rounds of Xfinity Series practice today. A little bumpy road there.
Bumpity, bumpity, bump, bump, bump. Bumpity, bumpity, bump, bump, bump. Ba-da-bum. Ba-da-bum, bump, bump.
You can really see
Tondo,
the
your
car
horse is ready.
moving from the right front to the left rear. How stiff these cars are to go fast.
Still pretty compliant, though.
Well, I can't give you a consensus pick for the pole, but, well, other than that guy and this guy. Here's Matt.
Brad Keselowski chasing his 2nd pole here at Las Vegas. So you've had plenty of speed presently and in the past. What's the money end of the racetrack that you try to focus on most?
I mean, you got to get to that bump in 1 and 2, Matt. I mean, if you miss it by just a little bit, you're in big trouble because, you know, 3 and 4 is always going to be important, but your run down the straightaway is only cut in half, right? So your exit of 4 is kind of not quite as critical, and it's a little less challenging of an end. But 1 and 2, that big bump, there's nothing like it anywhere else we run, and getting through it always seems to be critical here at Las Vegas.
Last year's winner, Brad Keselowski. Vince?
Martin Truex Jr. was fastest in practice. Is it good enough over the course of these 3 rounds to have a pole car today?
We'll have to wait and see if we made the right adjustments. She's cooled off quite a bit, but really had a solid practice with our Bass Pro Toyota and made some good gains on it, and really felt like we were, went faster every time we went out on tires, and then put stickers on and went even quicker yet. So I feel good about what we got, see if we made the right adjustments, and see what the track does. But the guy's done a great job today, and we've had good speed, so it feels great.
Mike?
Thanks, Vince. Now, as we mentioned, his was the last car to come to the line. And this is a team that has had inspection issues since Daytona. Remember, they're headquartered in Denver, Colorado. The rest of these teams are back on the East Coast, where these cars are built and prepared. And that is his teammate Eric Jones' car, still working its way through inspection. Now, even if we start this session, once they clear inspection, as long as there is time left on the 20 minutes of round 1, they can go out and post a time.
You know, something that Martin said that I thought was pretty interesting. He said the tires didn't fall off much. He said every time we went out on tires, we picked up speed and we put stickers on and we went really fast. So I think that bodes well for all 3 rounds of qualifying today.
Yeah, I think what they have to do then is just really keep up with the air pressures, because the air pressures will sit and build as they're on pit road once some heat gets into those tires. And so you want to make sure that those pressures are right each time you go out round 1, round 2, and round 3, and then maybe a little bit of adjustment for those air pressures of how the balance is going to change. But what I really got out of that was Kevin Harvick talking about commitment. And that's the thing. This track is so fast. You heard Brad Keselowski talk about the bumps. But what makes it so challenging is how fast you go into turn 1 and you're fully committed to not getting all the way out of the throttle, and you know you need to get wide open right away. Well, if the car doesn't rotate or get over those bumps right, your whole lap is ruined.
You know, I'm watching this whole inspection process with the 77 car. It looks like they are coming to pit road, so they'll be out there when this session starts. This is becoming an every week thing with this organization, with this team. And I know as a crew chief for 18 years, you have to push the envelope all you can, but somewhere NASCAR's going to say enough's enough, guys. You're doing this every week, and we're not going to keep doing this.
Larry, you think it's the addition of a second car? I mean, last year, I don't think Martin had that many issues week in and week out. This week, since the season started, these guys have been in there extra long. You think it's because they got 2 cars now they're having to watch after?
Well, I certainly blame the Daytona deal on that. We know what happened there with the whole template and everything, but I don't know if I can say that's the deal at Atlanta this week and now, or last week and now Las Vegas.
Plus, it's a new car. You know, it's a brand new Camry this year that they're working with. So I'm not trying to give them a lot of excuses, but I've got a pretty big book of them.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. climbs aboard. He was 21st in the practice session earlier. Jimmy Johnson was 3rd fastest in practice. Is he a pick for the pole? Kurt Busch, 20th.
Last year's
Practice
pole
earlier
sitter.
today. Yep.
I hear the rumble.
And the roar. The green flag waves, and the track is open for qualifying round 1.
I'm really anxious to see if the fast cars in round 1 are able to back that up from round 2 to round 3. We heard from Dale Earnhardt Jr. earlier. He said, I didn't have the fastest run the first time out on tires, but my second time out, I felt really good about it. So I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Now remember, last year, Kurt Busch's track record was set in round 1. That was the fastest lap of the day. There is that record. And practice, we were within about 0.4 of a second of that. Just barely in the 27s at 27.90.
I think we'll get a good gauge here right away. Got some fast cars going out. Here comes Kyle Larson off turn 4 to take the green.
And Larson was 4th in practice today.
One thing with that we've seen from practice, with that small spoiler in the back, really high top speeds entering the corner.
Ooh,
over 200.
Oh, yeah, I think it were like 210, 2010.
A little wiggle right there, coming off of turn 2.
A little wiggle when she walks.
2:03 entering the corner.
Looked pretty smooth through 3 and 4 there, right on the white line. Let's see what kind of time he lays down on the apron.
28:01 for Larson, and that is right on top of what he practiced. Here's Paul Menard, 28:28, and Casey Kane.
Casey Kane's won the pole out here, what, 3 times, I believe?
He was a 28:03 in practice, 28:12 for Kane. So looks so far 3 drivers, and they're all right on top of their practice times.
Which is really interesting because the track temperature has dropped down from practice. You would think that would add grip and make the cars faster. The sun did pop out here in just the last, say, 20 minutes, 15 minutes before this round started.
Well, there's no real rush. I mean, we've got, this is a 20-minute session, so there's no rush. If you think it's going to cool down a little bit more, the track will be a little better after a few people run on it. We'll just sit and wait.
So the back straightaway, turns 3 and 4 are in sun. The front stretch, turns 1 and 2 are in shade. New sponsor for David Reagan, juicebattery.com.
That's an interesting paint scheme on that.
It's bright. You won't miss it.
Yes, sir. You know when we'll know when it's time to go and the track is right and the conditions are perfect?
When?
When that 78 car runs out.
Good point.
I think they will know it's time to go.
We also heard from Kevin Harvick talk about not getting all the way out of the throttle. That's something pretty unique about this racetrack. A lot of grip, a lot of momentum here. And especially with less downforce, you really don't want to let the car get out from underneath you. And if you get all the way out of the throttle, it will unload the back end of the car. So that's why you won't hear much of that throttle all the way coming out in these qualifying runs.
Now 28.92 for David Reagan. That's a 10th faster than he practiced. Timmy Hill ran only 1 lap in practice. Dash Hub, new sponsor for Timmy Hill. Only got 1 lap in, had difficulty getting up to speed, but because there are 39 cars here and 40 spots available, everyone will make the race. Big improvement for Timmy Hill, 31.12. Quiet track for the moment. A couple of cars rolling down pit road, but just to get into position.
I'm wondering if some of these crew chiefs or maybe even the spotters on top of the roof are looking and seeing a cloud cover coming towards the sun.
Well, this is something we haven't seen most of the day. I mean, there's quite a bit of sun. You can see here off Timmy Hill's car, quite a bit of sun in that driver's eyes as he exits turn 4. That's got to be heating the track up a little bit and slowing it down a tad.
Well as that's a trouble spot. We saw how close a lot of cars were to that turn 4 wall coming off of the corner in practice. And I mean, you're carrying so much momentum and speed at that point, and if the car is right, it's going to be on the edge. As a matter of fact, we saw Jamie McMurray get really close to the wall, maybe about, I don't know, you might be able to fit a piece of paper between he and that outside wall. So that's not something you're going to want to flirt with if you have sun in your eyes.
Well, let's see how he does on this qualifying run.
In practice, McMurray's Credit One Bank Cessna Chevy, 28.12, 191.9.
Yeah, you get a little tail happy off turn 4 there. You're going to clip the back of the car, reach out there and touch that wall if you're not careful.
And the advantage of having a teammate already go out there is probably a good possibility that he was able to hear what Kyle Larson's comments were and how his lap went. They know how their cars are set up and the differences in them or how close they are.
He's picking up. Ooh, hang on. No.
Right up there high and again off turn 4 a little bit. I think it hurt his time a tad. See what he gets.
And he is 3rd with a 28.12, exactly what he practiced.
Yeah, underdrove it a little bit too.
And that's another thing. We talked about that commitment. You have to believe it's going to stick. That first time out, a lot of times you want to not overdrive the car and lose a lot of speed by doing that.
I'm committed to watching you, I'll tell you that.
Trevor Bayne clocks in at a 28.19. That is 4th fastest. And here's the rocket, Ryan Newman. Got a couple of good laps in practice earlier. 4th, 28.18. for Newman.
Nobody down in the 27s yet. There were about 4 cars, I think, in our practice that got down in the 27s.
A.J. Allmendinger, 28.35. 7th quickest. Here's Michael McDowell, 8th at a 28.36. Larry, is it a matter of waiting for the sun, or is there a little more strategy involved in going out later in this session?
I think it's more than just one thing. Yeah, obviously the sun going down, the track's going to gain some grip. But unlike Atlanta last week, I don't think there's the urgency to have the tires just stone cold from round 1 to round 2. In fact, I've heard several drivers and teams say a little bit of heat seems to be better. So I think that's another reason to wait today.
A little bit different approach here out of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Went in a little bit high, came over those bumps with a different angle, tried to carry that momentum. Ooh,
yeah, he's
wiggles right there, though, and washes up the racetrack.
Yeah, way high. Probably couldn't get the thing. Maybe he couldn't get it to the bottom. That's why he got up in that high lane over in 1 and 2.
Stenhouse 9th, 28.58.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to be happy with that. He qualified so well last week in Atlanta.
Well, his teammate really, you know, Trevor Bayne, who qualified Atlanta well last week, too. I mean, he picked up.
Look at this car. This is what he did in practice so well. He just painted that white line, goes right through the bumps like it's nothing. Watch him get down to that white line, carry a ton of speed through the center of the corner here.
He's got a 10th in the bank.
Little wiggle
getting in there.
But it's still looking good. He's going to lose a little speed off of 4.
Car's fast.
And hangs on. Yes, 28 flat. Cole Witt, 29.21. Gray Galding, 29.18.
Ooh, boy, you know, it's just, I know that car wasn't in his way, but just visually, you're so focused that can play a small role in how you get through that corner.
Always hated for a car to be on the apron when I was qualifying.
Very nice. E1.
Now, Brad Keselowski was 27.98 in practice. He's 27.92 in round 1.
I just think a little bit of that wiggle from Truex as he got down into the center of turns 3 and 4 cost him the amount of time where he would have run right around where Keselowski is right now.
Yeah, they'll work on that. They'll work on that 78 a little bit. He'll be better in round 2.
Matt Kenseth was 5th fastest in practice. Here's the Blue Def Camry. 4th, 28.03. Kurt Busch, 28.04. And Danica Patrick, who was 29th in practice with a 28.62. Patrick, 28.49. Nice pickup, 14th.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that track record of 27.498 is probably going to be pretty safe. I don't see anybody picking up 4.10s next time out.
We saw Corey LaJoie, the JAS Expedited Trucking Toyota, 29.10. 17th is Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the Nationwide Chevy.
I think Junior will be a little better qualified here in what he practiced.
Now you heard right there, there's a pretty significant bump right as you're getting back to the throttle aggressively as he comes across the line.
Yes,
3rd.
sir.
28 flat.
But you could see he started to pick up the throttle, hit that bump, and almost had to come out of it just a little bit. I think a lot of teams are going to struggle with that.
Nice run, though, for an 88 for where he practiced.
Now, Kyle Busch was only 14th in practice.
Junior
and
20.
Chris Buescher, 14th, 28.35. Kyle Busch to the top, 27.83.
Now we're
That
talking.
is the fastest lap anybody's run today.
Now we're talking.
Daniel Suarez. And Jimmy Johnson on your left. Denny Hamlin, 28.07, 8th. Suarez, 27.96, 3rd quickest.
Nice run. And look, Suarez is running both races this weekend. I swear I think that's what he needs to do for a little while.
I don't know if it looks like 48 pushed a little bit there through the center 3 and 4. Couldn't quite pick up the gas as much as he wanted to.
And Mikey Suarez is fast in Xfinity practice, and he's backed that up with a nice run right here, quick.
3rd for Johnson, 4th for Suarez.
Well, they ran identical times, 27.963. Chris Buescher on your right. Or excuse me, Landon Castle, 28.39 for Castle, 20th. And Clint Boyer, 28.26, 16th. Ryan Blaney for the Wood Brothers. And Eric Jones on your left. Jones finishing up. Good lap. Third for Jones, 27.93.
That's a great lap.
21 car was running high above the bumps in 1 and 2. Let's see what he can do here at the line.
12th for Blaney, 28.08. Kevin Harvick, 11th, 28.05. That moves Castle to the bubble. Knocks out Patrick with 7 cars to go.
Here's Logano choosing to go right through the center. And there's just a lane choice that you can decide how you want to get the car rotated over the bumps. Getting down to the bottom, you're going to get into the bumps a little bit more. If you go through the middle, a little bit wider arc, and might not load the car up quite as much over those bumps.
Joey Logano, 6th, 27.97. Ty Dillon, 22nd at a 28.30.
Comes to 24 off turn 4.
Matt DiBenedetto, 28.75.
See, he ran above the, kind of tried to stay above those bumps.
So Chris Buescher now on the bubble as both Michael McDowell and Landon Castle have been bumped.
It's good in 3 and 4, this 24 does. He ran a little high in 1 and 2. See how it works out for him.
Yeah, I don't know if that was by choice or not.
It looked like he drove it that way, Jeff. It didn't look like he was trying to get it to the bottom too much.
9th, 28.007.
He complained about the harshness of those bumps, so maybe he decided just to avoid them.
And I noticed, I thought that the splitter hit a little bit as Almirola goes to 29th. I thought that the splitter on that 24 car hit a little bit through the center of 3 and 4 as well.
Jeffrey Earnhardt, 36th. With a 29.56. And now all but one driver have taken time.
See, Mike, Jeff and I, we go, whoa, and I don't think you even noticed.
Well,
but I was trying to figure out who, and it was Reed Sorensen, who's on track right now.
But when you've been in one of those,
if you see something that just looks like the slightest movement from the camera, it's a huge moment inside the car.
Now, Timmy Hill's making a second run. I think largely because this is only his 3rd lap of practice. Reed Sorensen 37th. Hill is 39th. So getting and picks up to 30.87.
That's, you know what, for Timmy Hill, that's a nice pickup, really. 30.87.
Sure is.
All right, so immediately I start looking at some of the cars outside the top 24 wanting to make it into round 2. I mean, McDowell was pretty good in practice, and I'm wondering if he can pick up that second time out. But then you've got Danica Patrick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I mean, you've got Almirola. There's some cars, Chris Buescher. There's definitely some cars. And then you add Allmendinger, who's at 24th. He could possibly be in jeopardy if somebody goes out and goes a little bit faster. So a lot of strategy and decision making now.
Now, listen to how close this is. The gap from Kyle Busch to Brad Keselowski 1st to 2nd is greater than the gap from Keselowski all the way back through 9th. 2nd to 9th. We're closer than 1st and 2nd right now.
What stands out in that is, did Kyle Busch get all of it? It certainly seems like he did. And who didn't get all of it? Maybe did Keselowski leave a little bit out there on the table that he can close that gap to Kyle Busch?
Yeah, it's a 92 with a 3, a 93 with a 4, 96 with a 3, a 96 with a 3, and a 97 with a 5 and a flat.
And of course, I'm meaning for round 2 when they go back out.
So A.J. Allmendinger is on the bubble in the 47, 28.357. Ricky Stenhouse is going to need to find 2/10 to advance.
I think he has it in him. I mean, we saw quite a few moments in that car as he was making his first run. If he can clean that up and make a few adjustments to the car as well as his line, I think the speed in the car is there.
Yeah, his teammate ran at 28.12. Bain over there, he's sitting in 20th right now. Bain is, and Stenhouse, he were right on, right together. Stenhouse 28.58, so he's got some room for improvement for sure.
Yeah, he chose again that high line, and I just don't know if you're going to be able to pick up enough pace.
David Reagan made a second run and was a little bit slower. Cole Witt a little bit quicker, but doesn't advance.
Doesn't look like Stenhouse is going to advance
here either. Speed here.
Michael McDowell back on track. And Stenhouse picks up 2 spots, but only to 28th.
And this is going to be interesting. You know, this is a new tire that Goodyear has here this year, designed just for this aerodynamic package and this racetrack. And
It looked a little better through there for sure. A little confidence for Smithing.
and maybe it won't pick up as much on the second time out as we've seen in the past.
2 minutes to go in session 1.
She really came to the green flag well to start-finish line, carried that speed into turn 1, but just couldn't maintain the momentum through 1 and 2.
I just think those bumps just weigh heavily on your mind. You don't know whether to go through them, go around them. You'd like to go through them. The car bounces too much. It upsets the car too much. It's really hard for a driver to decide what he or she wants to do down there.
So Patrick, 28.428. That lap was faster, but not enough to advance. Allmendinger holding on to the bubble spot against Michael McDowell, who will need to find 1/100th of a second to advance.
Todd Parrott, he'll get him tuned up here. Let's see what he can do. That's his crew chief.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen on this lap.
And McDowell is slower by a 1/10. So there's Allmendinger on the right and Ty Dillon on the left, just in case they have to go out. Allmendinger working with interim crew chief Ernie Cope after penalties last week in Atlanta for loose lug nuts at race end.
That's not a bad interim crew chief to have in Ernie Cope.
Landon Castle.
Boy, look at this Buscher putting a nice lap together. It's going to make Allmendinger have to go back out and work for it. If he can continue to the line.
Yeah, I think he's got it.
Yes.
Yes.
Just did it.
By 2/100ths. And so they've sent A.J. Allmendinger. One teammate knocks out another.
Oh, he's going to have to hurry.
Yeah, he's got about 15 seconds. I think he'll make it. Yeah, he'll make it. No problem.
Come on.
Landon Castle.
time.
Come on.
Not fast enough.
Got it.
5, 3, 2, 1. Time has expired. 47 can't come back.
One thing you don't have to worry about with A.J. Allmendinger is commitment. This guy can stand on the gas. And
Got
he's
a little bit in the
good
bank
now.
right here. Losing a little here, losing a little there.
He needs 2/100ths.
Oh, it's coming back.
Coming back.
I think he's
One of those
Can you believe
JTG
that?
Doherty cars is going to advance, and it is Allmendinger.
Oh, wow.
28.31.
And those are teammates that just went at it.
2/100ths.
It's like a hamburger, in and out.
We've seen some close battles for the bubble before, but rarely among teammates. Chris Buscher on the left, his natural light Chevy was there. It wasn't, and A.J. Allmendinger pipped him right at the end by 2/100ths to grab the last transfer spot into round 2. Matt?
Chris was out, then he was in, then you were out again, then you'd have a chance to go back out.
Yeah, I thought me and AJ were better friends than that. So
Teammates.
no, that was it was a lot better than where our mock runs were in practice with our natural light Chevrolet. So I'm happy with that part of it. And our race runs were excellent. So I'm really excited about getting into that. You know, just qualifying this new package. I got a lot to learn here, and AJ helped me through some debriefs after practice, and then he went out there and still one up me. So I got to keep working, but everybody's done a nice job. I like where the race car's at. It drives really well, so we're going to be okay.
Continuing to build the program at JTG.
So Buscher will start 25th in the Kobalt 400 on Sunday next to Michael McDowell, Landon Castle, Danica Patrick, Ricky Stenhouse, Almirola, Di Benedetto, Reagan Witt, and LaJoy back through 34th spot. 39 cars here. That is where the rest of the field will line up. And the top 24, including A.J. Allmendinger by a whisker, will advance, Vince.
Well, A.J., Jeff Gordon said there's never any doubt about your commitment when you've got to go out there and lay down a lap. How tight was that one?
Tighter than I want it to be. We had good speed in practice, and the car's got a pretty good balance in it. Just not sure where the loss of speed is. I'll just have to drive the Kroger clickless Chevy even harder, get all I can. I'm not really sure right now. Ernie Cope, all the guys are doing a good job. We just drivers got to step it up a little bit more and drive it harder.
Can't imagine it being much driving it much harder than he just drove it on that last run.
Vince, I didn't know he could drive any harder. I thought every time he's out there, boy, it's 110%.
Let's look at the top 24. Here are the drivers that will advance to round 2 on Stratosphere Hotel Casino Pole Day in Las Vegas. That record 27.498 still sitting out there after 1 round. A.J. Allmendinger, the only driver with more than 1 lap at speed on his tires. Round 2 coming up. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Part of NASCAR Goes West, presented by Toyota. I feel like Clint Eastwood's going to come out with a very large gun here any second with that music playing.
Make my day.
Vegas, Sunday, 3 p.m. on Fox. Phoenix, a week from Sunday. And Los Angeles, Fontana, California, all 3 p.m. Eastern time on Fox the next 3 Sundays. Round 2. Who will be fast and which 12 will advance to the final round and run for the pole? Here we go.
They're not waiting this round, are they?
No, you know, the sun's gone down now, and this track that have the turn 3 and 4 that had sun on earlier is gone. So I think we're going to see some fast speeds in this round.
And instead of 20 minutes, this round is 10 minutes, and Brad Keselowski is on the loud pedal right away.
Yeah, and his teammate Joey Logano right behind him.
And Kyle Larson rolling out as well.
Just get you a little space here and have at it.
What I do like about this, other than, besides the fact that the sun has gone down, this gives them an opportunity if they do need to make another run in this round. It allows them to come back to pit road, cool down the tires, cool down the engine, and possibly make that. I know that they're hoping that they don't. They go fast enough here, and I'm pretty sure this car right here is going to be one to beat for the pole today.
Pretty fast in practice, that's for sure.
The last 2 years here, Keselowski has been one of the 2 fastest cars in pre-qualifying practice.
And both those cars' teammates, they ran above the bumps in 1 and 2. They kind of arced it in there and just went right above.
205 miles an hour into the corner, Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, and got a great run off turn 2 by doing that.
Used every inch of the racetrack coming off of 4.
27.96. Logano.
Larson on another good run.
28.03.
Round 1 he was pretty good. Backs it up.
27.90 for Larson. He is fastest. Kevin Harvick 28.16 is 4th.
Harvick got real wide off of turn 4 coming to the finish line.
Good lap by McMurray.
3rd for McMurray, 28.03.
These cars are so close. A 90, 96 and an 03. Wow.
Austin Dillon.
Really important to get a big run off of turn 4. Carry as much speed as you can into turn 1. And then maintain that momentum. Chooses that line we saw out of Keselowski, Logano, and a lot of them on this run.
I think what we're seeing, Jeff, is a lot of guys went through the bumps in the first round. They said just upset the car too much. I think we're going to arc above them a little.
Matt Kenseth in the green, so is Ryan Newman.
A little bit wide there through the middle, 3 and 4 for this 3 car of Austin Dillon.
Watch his hands, though. He wasn't fighting the wheel. He was just guiding it through there.
And the Lucas Oil Chevy is 6th, 28.26.
Kenseth on a good run.
Kenseth in the green. Top of the chart, 27.88. Matt Kenseth.
He saw what his teammate Kyle Busch did in round 1. He said, well, I think I might have a little bit for him.
Ryan Newman 7th with a 28.19. Denny Hamlin 6th, 28.07.
I think if you're going to beat Kyle Busch, you better have a little bit. You better have more than a little bit.
Casey Kane going to the bottom. We'll see if he can't make that work. So far he is.
Looks pretty good. He hooked that nice.
Now he's just got to get it to hook. Do that same thing through the center in 3 and 4. Get down to that white line. Didn't quite get there, though.
Got him up the hill. Pushed him up a little in the middle there. See if that hurt his speed at all.
And Kane 3rd, 27.92.
And Jeff and I talked about this earlier in the earlier session. When there's a car on that apron and you're on a qualifying run, that's a distraction.
Yeah, it's not aerodynamically impacting your car, but it is a distraction. You'd rather no cars be there.
Kurt Busch 8th with a 28.11. Martin Truex 3rd, 27.92. Bumping will begin now. Austin Dillon is on the bubble at a 28.26. Danny Suarez.
He looked nice through there, Jeff.
Boy, it went through there really smooth.
Here's
looked like he got a little bit tight, though, off of turn 2.
Oh, he's tight going into 3. 2:05.
Wow. Yeah, I know from the camera angle, it looks like they're so close to those cars, like Martin Truex Jr. being down on the apron there.
Here comes your guy right. See what Suarez got.
Suarez 8th. That bumps Austin Dillon. Newman onto the bubble. And Kyle Busch 6th. And that knocks out Newman.
But look at
Harvick
Blaney
to the bubble.
Blaney has something to say here.
Top of the board.
That. Wow.
27.81. Ryan Blaney knocks out Harvick. Kurt Busch is now knocked out by Eric Jones at a 28.03. Hamlin is on the bubble.
One of the young guns stepping it up.
I'm so excited to see what this 21 team does this year. I tell you, first year last year, running all the races this year, they got their inventory built up. That kid is hungry. That 21 car is going to be somebody you're going to have to deal with.
Denny Hamlin in 12th with 8 drivers left to make a first run in round 2.
I don't know if this is going to be enough to advance. Certainly not the lap that Jimmy was looking for.
13th, 28.08. Hamlin holds onto the bubble.
You can just hear a little bit of hesitation as the car bounces over the bumps through 1 and 2 there for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That 24 car, I just saw him go by. This looked like he got through 1 and 2. As good as anybody I've seen. I don't know how he's going to hang in here on 3 and 4, but he looked really good in 1 and 2.
Just got to the white line.
Dale Jr. 15th.
I think this will definitely get Chase Elliott through.
It does. He's 3rd, and that knocks out Hamlin. Suarez to the bubble.
Yeah, the 24 car that time, Jeff, really hung the bottom in 1 and 2, and the bumps didn't seem to bother it that much.
4 cars to go to make their first run. Clint Boyer.
That's the first car we've really seen spark like that. A lot of sparks.
Sun's starting to go down. We might see a few more sparks.
Those look like some big pieces were hitting the ground to me.
After Boyer's run, we'll switch our tracker to the 12th place spot. 13th for Boyer. Misses it by 1,000th of a second.
So close.
Trevor Bayne going into turn 1. See what he chooses. That's what I love about this racetrack. All the different options you have as a driver. The middle, the top, the bottom.
It looked like the long way around there, though.
Yeah, but he's hanging. Oh, that's the 12th.
Yeah.
Now Suarez and Logano are tied at 28.033, but it's Suarez on the bubble, Larry.
Yeah, we got right under 3 minutes to go in this second round, and certainly they can get back out there and make a run. But the run that Stewart-Haas Racing has been on these first 2 weeks, right now they have no one in advancing to the 3rd round.
Paul Menard to the stripe, 14th.
Looks like Kevin Harvick's going to take another run at it. So as a driver right now, you're just thinking about, okay, where did I lose time? You have a great idea of the run that you had and where you couldn't pick up the throttle. Maybe you overdrove it in the corner, or there's an adjustment that you needed to have made to the car. So that's what they'll do. He'll be thinking about what he can do to pick up just enough. He knows how much he needs to pick up to make it to round 3. And then he also asks a little bit out of the team to help him out.
I think the magic's in 1 and 2. If you can nail that corner, if you can get that car through those bumps without it upsetting the car, that's where the speed is, I think.
Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 18th. Here's what he said about his lap.
Yeah, I can't run through the bumps in 1 and 2. Should have probably ran higher. Also, I didn't get up to speed real good because of 48. I was waiting on him to go by. If I'd have went hard, I'd have off the pit road. I'd have been too close to him, so I was not going very fast when I got to the green.
Well, a minute and a half left in this session. Harvick needs to pick up a 1/10 to transfer and knock out Danny Suarez in the 19.
Didn't necessarily like his 1 and 2. I don't know how he did in 3 and 4. Let's see what he gets.
28-26. He is slower by a tenth.
Yeah, he didn't get 1 and 2 very well. Looked like the car was tight.
Austin Dillon on the clock. And Kurt Busch out as well.
Look at all the fire coming up in front of that thing.
Whoop. Yeah, what's that all about? Kurt Busch is just flirting with it, gaining speed into turn 3. Can he get through 3 and 4 and keep the momentum off of 4? No, he lost a little bit of speed.
Pushing up off 4.
That's what's happening to a lot of cars.
Yep.
They seem to get tighter as they get to turn 3 and just can't quite keep it on the bottom.
Kurt is 8/100ths slower than his first lap. Denny Hamlin trying to pick up 3 spots. Nope. Slower by 5/100ths. Ryan Newman. And Newman is a little slower. Here's Allmendinger, who has not yet posted a lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 31 just finished his lap as Allmendinger went to 1 and 2, had to go underneath him. That's definitely going to hurt him.
So Jimmy Johnson coming back for his second lap.
Yeah,
and Allmendinger his first.
I don't know how Allmendinger got by the 31. That was amazing.
Johnson is slower by 2/10, and Allmendinger is 23rd. So Danny Suarez holds on to the 12th spot.
What do you notice about that top 12 there, Mike? We had dinner with 3 of those guys last night.
A lot of young drivers in that group. Clint Boyer missed it by 1/1000. Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childers debrief. They end this session in 19th. 12 drivers advance. Here's 13th through 24th for your starting lineup for Sunday. And this time, Clint Boyer misses advancing to the final round by 1/1000. Last week, he missed the second round by 1/1000.
That's a pretty good improvement, I would say.
Really good. Yeah, nice job.
But still splitting hairs. Vince?
1/1000th of a second.
Yeah.
Where's the difference? I mean, how do you come up with a difference when you're talking about 1/1000th of a second?
Should have went to the restroom, I guess.
Your bladder, was that full?
You know, it's just, heck, thanks to Mike and everybody. That was a good hot ride. It's been a while, you know, since you've went that fast, and it's hard to, that's fast. Yeah, you know, the difference in the margin of error right there when you're talking just 1/1000th of an inch is just, you know, just at least a little bit. It's hard to say. Like, I was watching Dartfish and drug a little bit too much brake in practice. So you're going out there, you're trying to tell yourself, don't overwhelm the car, you know, don't drag that brake. You know you need it. But that's that stability, you know, pedal. You know, when that thing gets in there and wants to dance a little bit, you reach over and want to drag that brake just to calm the car down, and that little bit is what will cost you. But I'm proud of that. You know, we got to take baby steps of this. We got to set goals, and top 15, you know, this early is plenty good. I can see the front from there. You know, it was disastrous last week, and we started 25th or something. It took us a long time to get there. So certainly can race from here and go figure out what Vegas has for us now, huh?
There you go. Go to the bathroom. Let's go to Matt.
Vince, Jimmy Johnson will start 16th on Sunday. So if you had a chance to run over that round again, would you do anything different at either end of the racetrack?
You know, definitely disappointed with that. We've got a very sharp Kobalt Tool Chevrolet and a very fast Kobalt Tool Chevrolet. On my first lap, the 88 was getting up to speed and on the inside lane, and just took my eyes off exactly where I needed to be, and I missed that white line by, you know, half a foot. And then by the time you roll through the center, it's half a car width and left a couple tenths on the table as a result. So frustrated with that. Nothing anybody did wrong, but just hate that missed it by that small little margin. And especially with the practice session we had and that first round speed that we had. So disappointed, but this is going to be a great race. I think these hotter temperatures with the slow down force package and different tire is going to put on a great show on Sunday. And I would love to win here at my sponsor's event. So hopefully we can get that done.
Thanks, Jimmy. Mike?
Here are your top dozen, led by Ryan Blaney for the Wood brothers, whose last pole was Talladega, April 2004 with Ricky Rudd. Their last pole before that, Atlanta, 1984 with Buddy Baker. And Matt Kenseth, it's his birthday today. He turns 45, so he's, what, twice as old as Blaney? Wonder which one could win the pole. We'll find out shortly. 3 Penske-affiliated Fords, 5 Toyotas, 4 Chevrolets, including both the Ganassi cars, will now run for the Coors Light pole.
Track is right now, guys. Temps are down, sun's gone. I'm not going to break the track record, but it's still fast.
The consensus picks were Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex. Consensus meaning everybody agreed, nobody wants to raise their hand.
Now
207 into the corner.
That away. Stand on it.
He was fully committed through 3 and 4 and carried that momentum down into 1 and 2. Saw a lot of sparks, so definitely a little more grip, a little more travel.
Going faster, baby.
Yeah.
When you go faster, you travel more, you spark a little
stick?
more.
Oh, I don't know if it's going to stick.
204 into turn 3. Here comes the Miller Lite Ford.
What's he got? What's he got?
27.88.
Heck of a lap.
That's the fastest lap he's run today. Kyle Larson, 27.95.
That was a great lap by that 2 car. I mean, you preach about commitment. Well, that was a commitment right there.
Yeah, I mean, if he's carrying that much speed into turn 1, that just tells you how he came to turn 3, through 3 and 4 and off of 4 to carry that momentum down into turn 1. But when you do that, you got to be prepared, because if you drive too deep into the corner carrying all that speed, you won't get the car down to the line and through that middle section the way you want.
I think he just skipped over the bumps. I don't even think he just kind of hit the high spots.
Here's another car coming to the green.
Happy birthday
turn 1. Very well. It might be a birthday present. Look at this, off of turn 2.
Smooth. The car didn't move much going over those bumps.
No, it didn't.
Matt Kenseth used to say, I must not be a very good qualifier. Then he came to Joe Gibbs Racing.
Then he became a great
business
qualifier.
picked up.
Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, little wiggle right there off of 4. Not going to be a birthday present for him.
27.92. Here's his teammate Kyle Busch, the hometown boy.
Ooh, close.
28.07. He is 4th. Eric Jones. Could he surprise?
He's trying.
4th for Jones. 28.07. He beat Kyle Busch by 1/1000th.
Definitely a theme here. Getting over those bumps is the key to success. Those cars that get over those bumps and keep the balance, as we saw how much the right front was moving around the 5 of Casey Kane there. Let's watch the 22 through there.
Casey Kane, the Liftmaster Chevy, he's in the green, headed for turn 3.
Wow.
Just could not get it into 3 right there.
Look at Logano, though. He's in the green. He flew through 1 and 2.
Everybody's green till they get to 3, and they just can't carry the speed into 3 that they need.
Kane is 4th. Here comes Logano in the Pennzoil Ford. 4th rather, 27.95. And Jamie McMurray in the Credit One Chevy.
Part of that, Mike's just a product of having laps on your tires. I mean, you got grip in 1 and 2, but by the time you get to turn 3, the tires are starting to give up.
As well as there's already heat in those tires, the air pressure builds up a little bit faster through that lap, DW. So I think what happens, they get through 1 and 2, air pressures are down. But as they get to turn 3, they need the front to turn. Just seems to tighten up on them. Here we go with Blaney.
7th for McMurray.
I like that line. He went above the bumps, but he just right on the edge
Look
of
at
them.
this. Look at
right on the edge.
Oh, man, that's the best we've seen anybody get through 1 and 2 so far. He's up at 10th going into turn 3.
Man, he drove that thing into 3, and then it stuck.
Danny Suarez.
Come on, baby.
Here comes Blaney.
He's going to be so close. No.
Oh, no, right at the gosh.
92, 2nd for Blaney.
Still a fantastic effort for him and Wood Brothers.
2 Fords on the front row right now. Here's Chase Elliott trying to spoil that party, and Martin Truex, who was fastest in practice. They'll be the last 2 to run.
Just turn 3.
Come back. Look at this. He's coming back a little bit. Not quite.
Not gonna make it. Not gonna make it.
Second. Truex second with a 91. Knocks Blaney off the front row. And Elliott is 12th with a 28-26.
What about that? Brad Keselowski got himself a pole.
That's 13th career pole for Brad. Last one was in June of 16 in Pocono. And it's his first Las Vegas pole in his 9th try. He started first here in 2013. Qualifying was canceled. And Matt's with Brad.
Impressive speed on entry, 200 plus several times. Were you able to hold it well across the bumps if you had to do it again?
No. We really struggled in 1 and 2, but I don't know. You can probably see with the tracker, we had a great 3 and 4. So I guess I lied to you, Matty. He asked me at the start of this what it was going to take, a good 3 and 4, a good 1 and 2, and I would have said a good 1 and 2, and we didn't hit it, but we had a great 3 and 4, and that'll put the Miller Lite Ford on the pole, which is great because every year it seems like we sweat being in the Clash, and to get that over with early is great.
What do you like most about this new package, the tire and the aero rules?
I like that the cars accelerate a lot off the straightaway. I think that's always really cool. You know, they got the darn near 800-some horsepower, and you know, you want to feel it. You want to feel it kick in, and when you have to slow down in the corners, you can really feel the cars accelerate, and you got to really whoa up at the end of the straightaway too, so you really feel like you're driving them.
Certainly wheeling it, his second pole here at Las Vegas.
That's great.
120th career pole for Team Penske, and their first of 2017. 4th time that a Penske car has been on the pole at Las Vegas. Martin Truex missed it by just 3/100ths of a second, but Martin gets his first front row start of the year. Vince.
It stepped out of the car with a smile on his face despite missing the pole by 3/100ths. What kind of ride was that?
3/100ths too slow. It was good. Proud of these guys. You know, we've had a good car all day long. We really guessed the track would be faster than it was, and that messed us up. So we were off the first round, gained on it for the second, and then gained on it again for the third. So all in all, the guys did a great job. We just missed it by a little bit tonight.
Did you feel like there was a place out there that maybe you left it specifically?
Yeah, I might totally missed the corner in 1 and 2, but I actually got through there as good as I had all night. So maybe I just was running the wrong line the first 2 rounds. But 3 and 4, I felt like I finally hit it right in the 3rd round. So I didn't feel like we left a bunch out there. Just need to be a little better through 1 and 2.
Yeah, well done. Front row start for Martin Truex.
Well, the 2 drivers we previewed at the top of the show end up on the front row. Keselowski and Truex, with Blaney and Kenseth right behind. To keep up with this 3-week West Coast swing, follow at Toyota Racing and use the hashtag NASCAR Goes West. Las Vegas, Phoenix, Los Angeles. Well, Ryan Blaney was fastest in round 2 and just so close in the final round. Here's Vince.
Ryan Blaney will start 3rd. As you were pulling out, the 78 was out there in front of you. Did that mess with your qualifying lap there in that last round?
Maybe a little bit. I thought we got through 1 and 2 really well, like we did the second round, and I got tight over there, and I don't know if he messed us up or not, but I might just be making an excuse. But they did a great job, this whole Wood Brothers team, from practice to qualifying. You know, we had good speed in practice, thank you, Trim, and the first round we weren't very good, and we made good changes for the second round that got us really good, and we probably didn't take enough of that out of it for the last round. I was a little bit too tight, but it says a lot. It says the speed that we have. So we'll go see what we got tomorrow.
Yeah, great starting spot. Thanks. Ryan Blaney will start 3rd.
Ford's certainly showing a lot of speed in qualifying. Joey Logano, if you had a chance to do it over, which end of the racetrack would you try to re-navigate?
I'm pretty sure down to 1 and 2. I feel like I lost most of my speed down there. Had a good entry and a good 1/3, and then I got to the bump and started getting tight, and it stayed tight all the way off. And probably the best 3 and 4 I had of all the qualifying, which I'm sure I still probably got to be a little bit down there. It's amazing how close the field is, though. I think we were about a half a tenth off or so from the pole. So, you know, great, congrats to Brad and Team Penske. That's great. All 3 of us are in the top 6, so I'm proud of that. Just you know, you always want to be number 1, but you know, a good start for the Penske Ford today.
Looking ahead to Sunday, what do you feel like is going to be the biggest thing you're going to try to focus on to have a successful day?
There's a lot here at Vegas for sure, and I think everyone talks about the bumps a lot down at 1 and 2, trying to get that and trying to get your car to be able to move around the racetrack. You're going to have to be able to move around to be able to pass cars, be good at the top and the bottom. So we'll have a practice tomorrow to work on that a little bit, and hopefully get that tuned in right.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks.
Here's your starting grid for Sunday. Ford Toyota on the front row, Ford Toyota on the second row, Chevy Ford, Chevy Toyota.
Look at those young guns up there, though. I mean, Blaney, Larson, Logano, Jones.
Love it.
And look on down there, Suarez and Elliott. What a crowd.
Don't tell Matt Kenseth he's not young.
No, he's right in the middle of it.
Young at heart.
That's right. A lot of power back there outside of those first 8 rows. And back through the entire 39 driver starting field. Vince?
Daniel Suarez will start 11th. How would you address your first Cup Series qualifying effort at Las Vegas?
It was pretty good. The guy did an amazing job making adjustment from first practice to qualify. The first round of qualify, I feel like we have a rocket. We have a rocket out there. I feel like actually we had a shot to win the pole, but for some reason with the scuffed tires, we lost a little bit of that. But it's part of it. We go back to the order to work a little bit more and try to be better for tomorrow.
Good work. Suarez will start 11th.
His first round lap was his quickest of the 3, but he made the final round and will start in the top dozen. Mountains to the southwest, pretty warm here in the Nevada desert where we sit, adjacent Nellis Air Force Base. Yeah, somewhere they're out there. And here's Matt Yoakum.
Strong showing by the Chevrolet of Kyle Larson, and when you look at the first round, you felt like you underdrove it. The final round, how'd you approach it?
Final round, I thought I got through 1 and 2 okay. Maybe got a little too tight on exit, but was able to stay committed to wide open, which was good. Entry 3 was good. I just got tight center off. Maybe I don't think I really rushed the throttle, but I definitely didn't get wide open as early as I did the second run, which probably hurt my 3 and 4. So all in all, top 5 qualifying here at Las Vegas for the Target Chevy was good. Hopefully we can dial in our car for tomorrow in practice and have another good race on Sunday.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Chase Elliott ended up 12th. How would you address that qualifying effort there in that final run?
Yeah, I think I just tried a little too hard, to be honest with you. I think our car was pretty good and made some good gains. I thought from the first round, the second round had it pretty close and just tried a little too hard. So we'll try to get ready to go race tomorrow.
Happy with the car so far through the weekend?
Yeah, I thought we were pretty good today. I think we were solid, have something to build on. Just got to fine tune and hope we can get it closer than the rest.
How advantageous was it to have tested here?
I think it helped some. I really think it just helped our entire, group as a whole. So I feel good about that. We had a good test here. We also had good tests other places last year and didn't turn out like we wanted. So I don't necessarily know that means a ton, other than we got some good data and tried some things that I thought we got some good answers on. And Goodyear stayed pretty consistent with the tires. So I think that just is a helpful thing nonetheless. Not necessarily your speed is great at a test, but when you come back, it's all about just fine tuning. Obviously, everybody brings a little more when they come back to race. So hopefully we brought more than the rest.
Thanks, Chase.
Round 2 was his best lap. Had he run that lap in round 3, it would have been fast enough for the outside pole. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Night falls. Thud in the desert. I mean, it comes fast. It's dark out there. So no big surprises. Ford, Toyota on the front row. Keselowski, Truex. Ford, Toyota in row 2. Kyle Larson is the fastest Chevrolet in 5th. So kind of about what we figured.
Yeah, well, I thought we might break the track record, but after that first round, I knew we weren't because we were too far off. But what I'm excited about is these young guns that are starting up near the front Sunday, but also back in the middle of the pack, about 15, 16, 17, 18. You got Harvick back there, you got Johnson back there, you got several guys back there, and they won't be there long. So I think we're going to see, as we like to say, some comers and some goers.
And I think what's going to really showcase this week is the stage races and how strategy with the tires. We're not seeing a lot of fall off, even though this tire's a little bit softer. So now, are we going to see somebody push it and do 2 tires instead of what we saw last week at Atlanta, where it was very abrasive? 4 tires were the only call. And I think that, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see who gets over the bumps, who plays out that strategy, who comes from mid-pack up. And I agree. Blaney, Larson, there's some great young drivers up there that are very excited.
Yeah, with the track surface not being a factor, it's be some interesting strategy at the end of those stages. Now, the Roadrunner, he operates out in the desert. So does Wile E. Coyote. That'd be Matt Kenseth. He'll sneak right up on those.
Oh yes,
on those young birds.
He's starting right up near the front, which is pretty impressive for him. But look here, you got Daniel Suarez on the inside of row 5 or row 6 there. Chase Elliott. Those are guys that are. I mean, they can win this race. They've got cars good enough and fast enough. But then you move back through the field. Look, you got Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick.
What's Kevin Harvick doing back there? He won't be back there for long.
There's some good cars, you know, mid-pack.
And with stage racing, a lot of different strategies are going to play out, so it's going to be fun here on Sunday, the first of our 3-race West Coast swing. All 3 races on Fox, and all at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, tomorrow, all at FS1, Monster Energy Cup Series practice at noon, Xfinity qualifying at 1, final practice for the Cup cars at 2:30, NASCAR race day, and the Xfinity Series race here in Las Vegas, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's all tomorrow on FS1. Well, Darrell's headed for Area 54.
Yes, I'm going to 54 today. Yeah. Nobody goes there anymore.
What did you say, Mike? They are out there.
Well, yeah, we think they're in Area 51, but
that's what everybody goes to 51. If you go to 54, you won't believe it.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey.